months, I'm like fundamentally searching about, I mean, everybody's speaking about this thing called awareness, right? Which is
Mhm.
behind us, which is not the persona, which is not the
Right.
character, which is not out of memory, which is not the past and the future. This awareness is just simply behind or surrounding the persona or the thinking and the thought and the emotions or whatever is mental. So if you stay there, then it is timeless. It is not specific to a space or a spot, right? And then that is our original being, and is what I keep hearing for the past 6 months, 6+ months. But
Yeah.
and people say it is very simple. If you know it, you know that you have been that always, timelessly. Right? So
Mhm.
all these things I'm hearing, but then I think still there's something I'm missing there, which is, bringing me back to my persona or the set of masks, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's where I am now. So
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, let's see. So you looked at the DSI website, Deep Self Investigation, and you can see that it's really so the way that developed was also working with a lot of Advaita non-duality, particularly being very drawn to Ramana Maharshi's self-inquiry, but
okay,
also struggling with how to put it into practice.
right.
Eventually going around the circuit and seeing, so I was in California, a lot of teachers come there or they live there that teach non-duality or at least neo-Advaita type practices. And so, basically borrowing from all of them, going there, experiencing, having, getting in dialogue, asking questions, really beginning to investigate this. And then eventually basically being basically a little frustrated with that no one was actually had a solid teaching
Hmm.
in this. There were a lot of teachers out there and speaking a lot about it, but not a lot of very interactive.
Hmm.
So my training is, so in terms of character development, right? Training is in psychology, pre-med kinds of things, engineering. So that's Dan's background, right? So a lot of that had to kind of contributed to being very methodical about this, wanting to take self-inquiry and to develop a very practical, simple system for being able to utilize it on a moment by moment basis. And so that's what DSI is, deep self-investigation. It's really, I'm borrowing from the greats, from all these masters from the past. And then having, the other thing was working with that until I saw what they saw. There is no separate self.
Okay.
There's an idea, there's an I sense, and that's as close as it gets. But it can be very powerful, as you know. It can feel very much like you are separate, like you are an individual, like you are the character, you are this personality. So a major part of this is to begin to investigate that in a real-time experience and ask questions that bring attention to and bring perception, direct perception to what is this experience of you? Like what are the essential things that make you feel like a separate person, like you're in a body or you're in the mind or you have feelings or you so and it's to begin to look at that and become familiar with what are the indicators of that and then to question those. So that's what self-inquiry is, like who are you? Who are you? It's asking that in different ways over and over, coming at it from different angles, and then beginning to see that you're not what you think you are. Okay.
Okay.
So there's two elements to this as I see it. There's seeing what you're not, which is you're not a body, you're not a body-minded character either. Those exist, but that's not your identity. You're not in it. You don't experience things inside out from it. We're going to begin to, so I can tell you that right off. Look, you're not who you think you are. You're something else. Right now, nothing needs to change. It just needs to be seen clearly what the truth is. So you don't have to transform into an enlightened being. All that needs to be seen is that you're not what you think you are, but you are, there is something that you are, and that is what we call awareness or consciousness, right? You're already that. You don't have to become it. So the process of doing something like self-investigation, self-inquiry is really about beginning to see that and see through all the conditioning, the conditioned thoughts that suggest that you're something else. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Okay, so then a simple question. If, okay, I'll even go with the assumption that I'm not my body, I'm not my mind, I'm the awareness and the consciousness, right? Let me assume so. Now then, when I'm sleeping, where is this awareness then? Then am the big I dead then? It's non-existent. So where is this awareness and consciousness when I'm, say, sleeping?
Well, so here's what I would do though, Jay. I would back up a little bit. I think what's really important here, what you really want to know, I'm going to presume something here. I don't think you really want to know what you're doing when you're sleeping. That'll become clear at some point. I think you really want to know who you are and why you feel so bound up in this person who struggles in life. That's a much more practical and essential question to answer, Okay. So I'd like to come back to that. We can come back to that other one, like, well, I would say the simple answer to that is awareness is there always. It's here always. I mean, it's here now and always here, but it's obscured by all this J identity that's going on in the midst of it. Okay. Yeah. So again, the key thing here is to begin for me to give you some steps to begin to find, because it's not enough to just say, okay, I'm not Jay, I'm not this body, mind character. That's just an idea though at this point. What we want to do is use direct experience, work with direct perception instead of thinking, which is the way most things are run. They're run through the mind, right?
I actually got an insight, Dan.
Yeah, good.
The insight just now I got is, see, the persona is based out of memory, which is inside the physical brain, and this thinking and the memory cannot recognize awareness.
Cannot recognize awareness.
Yeah, so the thinker, can never know awareness, because all thinking can do is, it is what comes out of memory, but I cannot take awareness and put it into my memory so that I can recognize it later. Wow. Super. Okay, that's a good starting point. I mean, I've been studying this for more than a year. Deeply, but after speaking to you, I got this insight that the persona, which is based out of thinking and memory, cannot know awareness at all, because awareness cannot be memorized. It cannot stay in memory.
Or another way of saying it can't be reduced to a thought. So within the realm of thinking, everything needs to be represented as thought, but you can't represent awareness.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, because it's vast and it's unobjectifiable. Yes.
Not only that, I mean, it could be still simpler. Like, see, I can see beautiful things with my eyes, but then can I see anything with my ears? I cannot. Similarly, only eyes can see, ears cannot see. So the brain, the mind, and the thinking and the memory can never boil down awareness to its capability. So the thinking and the mind and the memory can never see what is this awareness. Maybe it can infer, maybe it can shut down, maybe it can shut up and stay put. to allow this awareness to be visible.
Mm.
Wow. Thank you. Okay. Let's proceed.
So, yeah, so getting back to the kind of the basic practice of this inquiry, this investigation. So the idea here is to begin to ask really good questions. And so there's some examples of this on the website.
Okay.
Who's having this experience? Ask, so the mind is, instead of the mind dominating this experience of inquiry, investigation, right? This deep investigation, the mind is kept at a minimum. Most of your information will come from this direct perception of what's here, right? The direct perception of what's here. So the question directs attention. Who's having this experience? The answer might be, well, seems like I am. Okay, then the next question, a little deeper. What is this I? What is this me? What does that word point to in this experience right now, in direct perception? And then noticing what's there, like what's there at the center of Jay as this personal core of him. Do you find, so you get a sense for what that is. Okay, it's here, it feels, maybe it feels fuzzy, it's not clear, but it seems to be here. It feels personal, maybe it feels familiar. Then we continue on though. The inquiry has to go deeper. What is that you? Are you identical to that feeling? Do you find yourself there? So, and then again, direct perception, letting attention drop into the center of that. What does it reveal? Attention does all the work. Perception does all the work. It will go, let it go in there and then it's like a space probe. It goes out and it goes into the atmosphere of the planet and it sends back data. So that's the way attention works. It drops in. Direct perception is like staying in the now, not in thought, staying in the now. Attention drops into this experience of you-ness, this personalness. And then this question arises, is this me? Is this what I am? And then again, looking, see, do I find myself? Do you find yourself there? Unlike other objects that the closer you look, the more clear they get. The I sense, this sense of you, does not get more clear, it gets less clear. And there's a reason for that.
Okay.
So in neuropsychology and neuroscience, they talk about, they're very clear on what a sense of self is. It's a fabrication of the mind. That's it. That's it. Beautiful, beautiful. But then they go on to be identified as it. So what we do, and the beauty of self-inquiry and these Eastern practices, is they went much further. They didn't stop with the science of it. They went right, continuing to go into the direct experience, go, yeah, but what am I this? If I look here and I see that my essential nature as a person, as a separate person, is thought, then what is all this thought about me? What are all these plans and stories and all this? It should this clear seeing should undermine all stories about you. Not immediately, but gradually it should be like, yeah, but who's having this story? Whose story is this? Whose feeling is this? Whose experience is this? Well, it seems like it's mine. Well, where is the mine? Where's the owner of the experience? So everything brings you back to that central question. Who is having this experience? And then direct experience, direct perception answers the question. And the answer just is continually, there's nothing there. You're not there. There might be feelings and sensations, but you do not find yourself there.
Yeah.
So the only way to do this really is to just do it. You have to do it. So, I mean, to see how this works. Go ahead.
Right. Dan, yes. So I understood so far that attention is like a space probe. Awesome. It goes and sees. But then it's like if you keep peeling the onion, there's like emptiness, you cannot define it, it is not in time, there's like blankness, there is no thought, it is like space, empty space.
Well, not only that, but it's empty space at the center where you should be the most.
Okay.
That's what's really critical here. Seeing that at the center, that's all you are is an onion. What happens when you peel away all the layers of the onion? No onion. You don't get more onion at the center. You get no onion, right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, that the sense of you right now, this moment. You doing okay?
Yeah. No. Okay. My
But
only.
we don't want to go to the mind too much with it, say, Jay.
Right.
I mean, you're a smart guy. You're used to thinking about things, but this is a place where there's a lot less thinking, and it's a lot more about this direct experience of what you are. So that's all about perception.
Right. I'm there, Dan. So of these
Okay.
so many years of my meditation, I can sit, close my eyes and sit for like half an hour,
Okay.
and 1.5
I'm
hours,
sorry.
all those things.
So
Right?
let me interrupt. I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
That's not true. It's not true. You don't do anything. There is no you means no you.
Okay.
Those are
Okay.
that's a story about you, about this imaginary person you think you are. So see, attention goes to that, and now that gets some juice, and it seems true. I have this history. I've done these things, and I'm here to tell you, absolutely not true. You are not that character, and so we draw attention back out of that. So that's kind of the way this process works. Is I'm going to interrupt those patterns of automatically going to a story or a description or a narrative about who you are and where you came from. And we're going to question this central figure.
Okay. That central figure is like approximately it can be said as pure awareness or emptiness.
Well, just what you see now, though. So just what does perception tell you? What does this direct experience tell you? I know you know about awareness, and there's a lot of knowledge there, right?
Right.
But so one of the things I talk about on the website is really discriminating between thinking about something and direct perception. Direct perception is very simple. It's here and now. And if it seems complicated, thinking is what's going on. It's not perceiving. So it's a good indicator that attention has now shifted back to thought. It seems complex.
Right.
So every once in a while, what I'm going to do is notice if I see that a description is coming from thought and from ideas instead of direct perception. I'm going to say, well, that's a thought, but what's your direct experience of that? And that's just about noticing what's there, noticing what's here right now.
Okay.
And it's not complex. It's not complicated.
Right.
Simple.
And simple and boring. Because it's nothing.
Boring to who? See, we're not interested in experience. We're not. If you want to have exciting experiences,
I know where to go.
Yeah. There's all kinds of things to do, right? Yeah.
That is not.
But you don't want that anymore. See, so here's what's going on. I'm just going to cut to this is the end of the book.
Yeah.
You are not Jay. You are not a person. What you are right now is awareness, and it's trying to wake. Awakening is happening. You're not. It's not the culmination of all Jay's life efforts and things like that. Just see it as an impersonal process that is in process. It's happening. So I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff here, just because I know you're recording and you'll be able to check it out later. But these are all things that you can confirm by looking at this experience, by investigating what it is you think you are. and what it is that seems to be going on here. And ultimately, you're left with an impersonal, but not, it's not impersonal in the sense of dead or boring. I mean, I can tell you there's no I here anymore. That thought, those thoughts, that self-concept is gone. There's a body here, there's things going on, but I'm not a person in the middle of that. I see what awareness is present. Everything is alive with awareness. But it's not boring at all. It's very dynamic and mysterious, you know, and things are arising all the time in that. So if it seems boring, that's in relation to something. And we turn everything, every statement that's made, we turn it into an I statement. I think this might be boring. Good. That gives us a good I statement. But what we're interested in is not answering, is it boring or not boring? We want to get to who's the one who thinks it's boring. So no matter what is going on in the moment, we are always making an I statement out of it and then looking to see who believes that, who feels that, who wants that, whose story is that. Mine. What is this mine? Who's the owner? Who's the doer? So this is the simplicity of self-inquiry. That's why he just said, ask who am I until you know. That's it. You can write it on the back of a matchbook.
Okay, two questions, Dan. First, the
Yeah.
simple part of the question. See, sometimes I've seen you, indicating yourself in third person. Is that intentional? What's the benefit of that?
Yeah. So this is the dream. These are the dream characters that are in play right now.
Okay.
Language without the use of I language, it's very awkward.
Yeah,
So
in public
the thing
at
I
least.
learned is, it's like playing a character in a play on stage.
Yeah.
You don't get confused. I'm not confused anymore about not being the character. Everybody else that thinks they really are the characters they're playing.
Okay.
But we use the same language on the stage, right? I reference I and myself, but I know there's no I.
You know you're a character.
Correct.
Okay. So you know you are a character. So you don't have any attachment to the character, and that whatever the demands of the character also, you will not care.
Yeah, the character has lines to read and it reads the lines. That's what it does. But you feel almost a sense of space between what you are and the character itself. So that's so in Buddhism, they talk about detachment, right?
Yeah.
As a quality of awakening, right? Well, it's the same thing here. It is a quality of awakening. There's a sense of space there. There's a sense of vacancy at the center, but it doesn't insubstantiate my being. It makes it super substantial because your being becomes aware, this aware present, which is everything, everything.
How can aware present be everything?
How can it be everything?
Yeah.
Are you asking how can everything? Well, so again, without that sense of constantly referencing yourself as a person there.
Yeah.
There's a sense that awareness is.
Yeah.
All this is, capital T, this. It's non-duality, right? There's only one. That's non-duality. That's Advaita. Not two. There's one, whatever it is. There's no boundaries. There's no me and that. So my experience now is that this is what I am is that. So I am that, right? Straight out of Nisargadatta. You are that. What do you think he's talking about? He's talking about this. and it's alive, it's conscious, it's self-evident that it's alive and conscious, and it's everything. But this isn't gonna make your mind feel better to think about this too much. So at some point you will just see the truth of it. It'll be like, oh my God, that makes perfect sense now. But it doesn't have to make sense now, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay, but at least to go a little bit further, whatever I know, it is because it appears in the awareness, in the timeless, non-specific awareness. Everything appears. Like when I see a tree, I know the tree exists only if it is in my awareness.
Okay.
The empty awareness.
Who sees the tree? Who sees the tree? See, that's how the eye sense gets superimposed upon experience. Find the one who sees the tree, and then you'll know what's really going on. Because that's a very subject-object kind of way of thinking about it.
But then seeing happens, right? If I'm walking in a street, there is like many things come and like,
But you don't have it. You don't have it. No more than thought can capture awareness. It's a similar kind of principle. You do not have seeing. Seeing is.
Yeah.
If you try to find the seer. I mean, seeing's happening, that's obvious, right? But find the seer.
Correct. So seeing happens, and then it comes to memory, and then memory brings the I later.
Right. Well, yeah, let's say that. Let's say, but see, there's an assumption here. This is the trick. The assumption is this memory of you is a real thing now. Instead of it being an image in the mind, I'm here. Here's the image. I'm Jay. I'm here now. That's thought. It's a thought. It's only, just like the neuroscientists say, it's a mind creation. The self is created in the mind. It has no existence outside the mind. It's a thought. It's just a special kind of thought. It's a central thought. It's the personal center. But it's just really what it boils down to is just another thought. But the key thing with this, Jay, is to see it in this moment, and each moment be looking. Who's having this experience? Where is this I? It's going to be very easy. Again, smart guy. Jay's a smart guy. He knows a lot. He's learned a lot. It's going to be very easy to get caught up in a lot of thought about this. Forget about it. There's no answers there. I mean, really.
Okay.
The truth also, here's another biggie. Awareness does not live in thought. Thought occurs in awareness. That's why thought cannot capture awareness. It's like the fish is swimming around, is trying to capture the ocean. Never happened. The ocean, the fish resides in the ocean. That's the way it works. All thought resides in awareness.
Okay.
Truth also cannot be caught by the mind. It doesn't live in the mind. The mind lives in truth. It exists in truth.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mind is an illusion and is a representation. It is temporary, so it doesn't get mixed with truth.
Yeah.
I mean, this illusion is possible because of reality. This illusion is possible because of reality, whatever it is.
So say that one more time.
Sure. All thinking, all memory, these are all representation, and they are unreal. But this is possible because of some truth. There is some truth, there is something, and all these representations and thoughts and emotions are possible because of the truth. But this is not truth. This is not real. All thoughts and representations and thinkings and images, These are all untrue representations and temporary. But then for this to happen, there should be something which is true.
Right. So let's just see, can you see though that truth cannot, or thought, no matter how complex, cannot contain truth?
Yes.
It can't capture it. It can only reflect it. It cannot capture it. So it can never, this is why direct experience, you have to go outside of thought, right? Attention needs to get out. It's running around in this labyrinth of thought and looking for answers like a rat in a maze. There's no answers there. The rat wants out. He wants out of the maze. But you can't get out of the maze inside the maze, right?
Yeah.
So truth is the same way. Truth, freedom, the rat's freedom, truth, outside the maze. It can be experienced, but no matter how smart the rat gets at maneuvering in the maze, he will never get freedom from the maze. It doesn't mean there isn't freedom. There is. There's a world outside the maze, right?
Yeah. There is this.
But so, yeah, go ahead.
One related things I want to mention is there is one a logician. I forget his name. What he said is, I mean, he has proved mathematically that you cannot prove the system from inside the system.
Yes.
And because of this,
Einstein said something like that too.
No, this guy is actually one of the guy who was inspired Einstein. He died in New York because he had some sort of phobia without eating this thing. One second, I'll tell you. Tell his name. That is theory of certainty, unprovability. Just searching. Gödel. His name is Gödel. Gödel's incompleteness theorem states that you cannot prove the system from inside the system. Yeah. Bertrand Russell had written a 1,500-page book to prove that maths can be proven using maths. After writing 1,500 pages, Gödel created this theorem, which is that you cannot prove the system from inside the system. Then Bertrand Russell, one of the greatest guy, he burned the 1,500-page book after writing
really?
it.
Wow.
You want to prove maths using maths.
Right.
But then this guy undoubtedly proved that you cannot prove everything in the system from inside the system. Only you have to come outside. Bertrand Russell burned his 1,500-page book, saying that, oh, sorry, I started with an assumption that I can prove the system from inside the system, but Kurt Gödel undoubtedly proved that you cannot prove a system from inside the system. So yes, using mind like a rat maze, any 1,000 kilometers I travel, I'm still inside the maze of mind.
Right. So your tendency, as identified as J, will be to try to prove it with inside the mind. I can tell that's a strong part of this character, right? Oh, I think there's a lot of thinking going on. The way out is not through more thinking. It's going to be, and it's going to be difficult to make that shift.
Okay.
But the shift is toward direct experience, this direct perceiving of the now moment. That takes attention, that directs attention outside the maze. In the now, the maze is not relevant. Thoughts are not relevant. The only thoughts that are used are enough to generate a good question. Who am I? Right? That's the essential, that's traditional essential self-inquiry. It begins with, who am I? What is this I that I feel myself to be? What is it? Who am I? What am I? That question takes, so what, it's like a booster rocket on on that probe, okay? We're going back to the space probe again, right? So
Okay.
the booster rocket is used to generate velocity and direction, right? It sends this capsule out, but then at some point the booster rocket falls away. It's no longer needed. Now attention goes on its own, and where these questions are like rockets that are pushing attention in to the center of your experience now, to the simplicity of the seeing of what you are and what you're not. Both seeing what you are and what you're not.
Okay.
I'm not the body. I'm not the
Yeah.
mind. I'm not a thought about me. I'm not a story about me. Right now, what the answer in there will be nothing. You are no thing. No thing. Awareness is not a thing, right?
Right.
So in the realm of things, you still feel like you're somebody.
Yeah. Right.
Yes. So what we're questioning is that true? It's just basic, it's like basic science. Prove it.
Right.
Verify through good objective observation.
Okay.
Look and see. So this is like spiritual science. It's just basic science. Look and see,
Yeah.
prove it. What do you do for a living? What's your job?
I'm a computer engineer. I set up
Okay.
computers and software.
Yeah. Okay. So very logical, very rational,
Yeah.
all within it. It works the way it works, right? Within that realm, things make sense.
Yeah.
And the more you understand it, the more you're able to, the better, I imagine, the better computer programmer you are, right?
Yeah.
Or they don't even call it programming anymore, right?
Yeah. Still
Systems engineer, you know, things
what?
like
DevOps engineer, site
Yeah.
reliability
Right.
engineer, whatever.
So this is different though. See, this is different. So like I said, my background was science-based, it was psychology, it was medicine, it was engineering.
Okay.
All very logic-based, all very well contained. And within the realm of the mind and logic and rational thinking, lots of things can be done there.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Self-inquiry, totally different.
Right.
Self-investigation, completely different. It's about now, it's about the present experience. It's actually not about thought. There's no answers. See, we start with the presumption there are no answers in thought for this. This is going outside of that. It's outside the maze, right?
I totally agree. So my next two questions I have. So one question, initially I said this awareness is boring. Like there's nothing there. It is emptiness. There's no quality. But then you said that it can be exciting. There's lots of things happening. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, please?
Yeah. Well, the reason why, what I would do is dismantle the sense of it being boring. Where's the evidence that it's boring? Well, the primary thing in that is it's boring to you. But the secondary evidence is because of the way you think about your experience, right?
Okay. And whatever is.
Say that again.
Whatever is, if I expect it to be exciting, and if it is not exciting, it is going to be boring.
Right. It has to meet certain criteria, or it's
so that's
judged,
a wrong expectation.
Or and put it in I language. I judge this as boring, because of it doesn't meet these criteria.
Right.
So we're going beyond criteria. We're going beyond that. It's like saying exploring space is boring because it's space. You know, down here on the planet, there's baseball games and TV and all kinds of things. But I go into space and it's boring. But it's not boring to an explorer of space, right? So we're going there. We're going there. Whether you realize it or not, that's where you want to go. You want to know what's there. That's what drives you now to ask these questions, to be here in the first place. See, I think it's the reverse. I think what you're leaving behind is boring. I think where you're going is, it's always new. It's always it's full of mystery and discovery. It's like, a lot of this exploration is like very childlike. It's about curiosity and exploring the unknown.
Okay.
So that's the way I would reframe, I guess the question again is to go, it's only boring in relation to some judgmental criteria about what it's supposed to look like or what we're used to, what we're accustomed to.
Okay. And you also said about direct perception.
Yeah.
So I understand in my awareness, there's lots of thoughts float and they show many things. This is my body, this is me, this is the role, this is my responsibility, this is my nationality, all those things, they keep showing, right? So now there is simple plain awareness and then something comes to this consciousness and then I see that. So then where and what is direct perception here?
What is it in terms, can you say that a little differently?
Sure. Like you said about direct perception. Can you speak more about this?
Let's try to separate that. So right now, direct perception is going on, but it's full of thinking. It's full of thought. So
and interactions. Okay.
And basically, I mean, let's look at it as a function of attention. Attention is mostly on thought. It's like an ADD child.
Okay.
They're bouncing all around. They're looking at all kinds of things, and they get distracted easy. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the funny thing is the nature of the character, the nature of being a person is very ADD-like. It's like bouncing around. Attention is bouncing off of thoughts all over the place.
Okay.
And attention enlivens whatever it touches, right? Attention, it's an extension of awareness. It brings to life whatever, it's like light. You shine light on something in the darkness, it makes that seem like the center of everything. There's all the detail jumps out, right? Attention is like it's like a flashlight. We're shining it around. It's used to, attention is trained, is conditioned to go to thought. So it goes to complexity. And that's why we look for answers there. We're familiar with thinking. So now what we're going to do, so I just want to lay that out. So here's direct perception we're going to come down to. So I'm going to show you something. So we're going to use the senses. So in this present experience, do you see the orange bottle?
Yeah.
Do you have to think about it?
Very less. I mean, it was very obvious. Yeah.
It's obvious. Exactly. There's no thinking required. Now, do you see the bottle?
No.
No. Simple. Yes, no. It's binary. It's on or it's off. It's yes or it's no. The perception, direct perception, is immediate. You see it and you confirm it. You don't see it, you confirm it's not there. You don't think about it. You don't think, well, it was there, so it's probably here somewhere. That's what the mind does. The mind is constantly injecting more, projecting more onto the moment. Direct perception is immediate. It's just that you're not used to relying on direct perception. To me, this is like the most obvious thing. In this direct perception, there's what is and there's what isn't. There's no confusion around that. What is what's seen, what's noticed, what's.
So you mean whatever our five senses shows is direct perception?
Sorry, say that again.
Sorry, yeah, my mistake. It does whatever our five senses show here now, is that direct perception?
Well, let's call it five senses and awareness. And noticing, because you don't, if I say, look in your mind, imagine a yellow banana. You see it?
Yeah.
You kind of see it, it's yellow, it's got a little shape to it. Okay. You don't use your five senses for that, right?
Right, yeah.
There's just noticing what's in the mind, right? Noticing what's in the mind. So in Buddhism, they have a term for it and I've forgotten it in the moment, but it's sort of like the five senses and nescience or something like that, and what's we're directly
Mind.
aware of internally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you know? So imagine the banana again.
Yeah.
How do you know it's there? Do you smell it? Do you see it? Do you hear it? Do you touch it? No, none of the senses
No.
work, right? You know
Yeah.
it by what? What is it that tells you that it's there? Awareness of it, right?
Okay, so the memories brought that yellow banana to attention.
Okay, let's use that word, attention. So you know it through attention to imagination.
Yeah,
Attention
in
to
the
imagination.
imagination. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, yes, direct perception is all the senses plus attention.
Either physically, externally, or internally.
Is what externally or internally?
See, there could be a physical banana which I can see, I can smell, I can touch.
Right.
It could be a physical banana. And then if you ask me, hey, imagine a yellow banana, yes, I can imagine a yellow banana.
Yeah.
Right. So when I see a physical actual banana,
Right.
then through my 5 senses, it goes and then it recognizes this is a banana, and then there's an image of banana is created in my attention here now. Right. So that is one. And the other thing is verbally, you can say, hey, imagine a banana, then my intellect or mind has got a capability to bring a yellow banana to my attention.
Yeah. So I would say a little differently, but basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Attention. So there's a physical banana out here.
Yeah.
Attention goes to the visual, the
Right.
visualizing of the banana and says, yes, there is, it confirms. The internal, it does the same thing internally.
Yeah.
Imagination conjures a representation of a banana. Attention goes to it and confirms, yes, there's a imaginary banana there.
Yeah.
So we'll make it a function of, we're going to make it a function of attention. Attention goes internally and notices. Same thing with sensation. Internal sensation, you know the sensation directly.
Yeah.
You also know the visualization of something external to the body directly. Direct perception. It's all direct perception. Does that make sense?
So a direct perception is one which is in my attention.
Yes.
I need my attention, right?
For present, yeah, and attention is always now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So just bring it back. It's the simplicity of this. Attention is now. Attention sees, attention notices, sensate the 5 senses, what registers in the 5 senses, plus what registers in thought, we'll say. Registers in thought. That's direct perception.
But all direct perceptions are representations, right?
Oh, sorry. All perceptions are representations?
Yeah, they're unreal. All because when I see a tree, I see a tree because I got it in my attention, right? Because see, if I
Yeah, see, I mean, now we're slipping a little into philosophy, a little bit of philosophy or more
technical definitions.
Yeah, so the problem with that is now it's gonna seem complex.
Okay.
So I think we want to be a little careful. So we don't want to presume anything. We just want to say, here's what seems to be happening. There's awareness, there's attention, right? And attention creates the sense of noticing. Whether it's sensory and so-called external. See, I don't think there's no internal, external. That's another boundary. That's another, it's like the boundary between Canada and the United States. If you go there, you will not find a line, right? There is not a line.
It's a shared fiction.
Yes. Or
of humans.
it's a shared idea.
Yeah, I mean fiction.
But
It's like unreal.
as with most people, I mean, look
Yeah.
at though all the hubbub, all the
Yeah.
stuff that happens, all the fighting and conflict over imaginary boundaries.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean they don't seem very real and don't influence, but ultimately it's not real. There's no actual boundary there. It's, like you said, just shared
Fiction.
fiction. Yes.
Unreal, I mean.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
point of relying more on direct perception is to begin to shift our gathering of evidence from thought-based stuff, which, like I said, is complicated and complex and infinite.
Yeah.
And there's no answers there. Like I said, there are no answers there. To shift that effort to the simple now, the simple now. But that's the practice. The practice part of this is that takes some time. The tendency is going to be to go to thought, is to rely on thinking to come up with answers. What we're talking about is beginning to shift away from that reliance to using direct experience.
Okay, this direct perception or experience is what I'm not understanding, Dan. So,
like I said, it's immediate. You see
yeah,
the orange bottle. You can say there's minimal thinking, but I say there's no thinking. There's something here. Even before we call it orange or a bottle or anything else, noticing something here is immediate.
okay.
That's your direct perception. That's direct perception. It is. This is. Now, this is not. There's nothing there. It's so simple that it gets confusing, but it's actually.
But my mind is needed to perceive that also, right?
No.
No.
The mind is perceived. It does not control perceiving. That's just another idea. Again, in the maze, in the mind. See, again, truth. The truth about direct perception is not in the mind. It's in the direct experience. The direct experience will show the truth of that.
But direct experiencing of what? Again, the
Of
mind question.
Of anything, and anything that's here now.
But how can I see? We always need to interpret, like even to say this is a cup and I can drink water out of it, right? See, any animal, like even if you put a cat here or a dog here, it will see, yeah, there's a table, it will know it cannot pass through it. Like it has to jump over it, it has to go over it, right? So even a bird or an animal, without deep thinking or recognizing this cup, they know this is an object. I cannot go through it. You mean that perception?
Well, that's an idea about you and the object. So that's a good example of going to thought to try to make sense out of something, right? But all I can say is the same thing I'm saying. There is no answer there. There's too many. So here, let's do this in a different way.
Yeah.
There's presumptions that are going unchecked here. Where's the you that's going to pass through the cup or not pass through it? Find that, and I'll tell you the answer to the cup question. Find the you that either would pass through it or not pass through. See, you don't want to, with self-inquiry, the whole thing of this is to see that what you really want is the truth. You don't need to be a smarter guy or to be more. So I think it's really important to see what you really want with all this. Like, what's your goal? To be an enlightened Jay? If you want to be an enlightened Jay, I say good luck. I mean, you can, it's like, I use this example sometimes. It's when you jump out of an airplane with a parachute and you've got a reserve chute and you have your main parachute. Sometimes the parachute gets tangled up.
Okay.
What you're trying to do is use your tangled chute to stop you from hitting the ground. I'm going to say good luck. Good luck.
Mhm.
You need to jettison the old chute. It just will get, because when you release your reserve chute, it'll get tangled up in the existing chute. So
Mhm.
everyone brings this to self-inquiry, self-investigation, finding these truths. Everybody they bring all this shit from the mind, all these complex ideas and things.
Mm.
They won't help you here. They won't. I mean, just trust me. Everyone, if you listen to Rupert or anybody out there who really knows their stuff, they will tell you the answer. Nisargadatta, he would throw you out of the living room for this. He did that a lot. He would just throw people out and say, I already talked to you about that. Get out.
Okay.
There is no answers in the mind. There isn't.
Okay.
But there's a lot going on outside the mind. And so that should be encouraging to look somewhere else. We're just like, I'm throwing wrenches and stuff, I know, all over the place here. So, I mean, a lot of this will kind of percolate through as you think about it. And I think a thing that's really important, Jay, is figure out, really be certain about this question. Do you want to know the truth, or do you want a better life? If you want to have a better personal life, even a more spiritual personal life, that's all within the realm of, that's not about waking up. That's about developing your life. It's about improving the dream. It's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
No, I'm very clear. Actually, my
Yeah.
life is very good. Touch wood.
Yeah.
I don't want anything in my life. Only
Right.
thing is, I want to understand this thing of awareness and consciousness based on this Advaita principles. Like that is the only reality.
Okay. But why do you want to understand that? Why do you want to understand it? Why? You think it's going to get you something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to give me clarity of my own mind, how it functions, so that I'll not get
So
into entanglement, unnecessary complications in life.
Okay. So you want a less complicated life, less
Yeah.
entangled, and you want
Yeah.
more clarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, as long as there's a you that wants that, you don't get it. You won't get it. There'll be some improvement in clarity. There'll be some, but it's still within the realm of improving my life. My understanding is part of my life. But what Advaita is about, what non-duality is about, what deep self-investigation or self-inquiry is about, is find the one at the center of that. It's about going to the, you want change to take place, freedom from entanglement. Then cut it off at the root. The root of it is the sense of you, the sense of I, or what Ramananda calls the small s self, the self. He says what you really want is to see that you are the big self, capital S.
Which is no thing, which is emptiness, which doesn't have any quality.
It's emptiness and it's fullness. I mean, yeah, it's just, it's not empty. It's not void. So that's really important. It isn't void. What you're going towards is not void. It's just there. So I'm just telling you, here's my experience right now. Where there used to be a sense of I here in the body,
yeah,
it's vacant. It's vacant. There's nothing there. It's a space. And there's the clarity is that what used to occupy that, or apparently occupy it, was thinking that said, you're here, you're here, you're here. So this is all about seeing through that untruth, that you exist there.
Okay.
That's the end of entanglement. That's the end of all human struggle. Fear of pain, fear of suffering, fear of change, need to get more, I mean, the whole human condition. I mean, you know that this is the end of all that. That's what awakening is. That's what enlightenment is. It's the end of all that. That's the personal life.
Then I missed something here. It is not emptiness, it is fullness, is what you said. Right?
Yeah, well, you can say it's empty, but it's empty of some parts of experience. But is it truly empty? No, it's not. It's full. It's this. It's everything.
That I'm clearly missing. It is full of what?
This. It's this. This is here. Okay, this is here. There's just one this, capital T, this. Or what Nisargadatta says, that. It's this, there's that. And what does he say? You are that. What do you think he's saying? That's the title of his famous book.
Where's that book? Yeah. Oh. It's here.
There you
this
go.
is next to my desk for more than 6 months.
Can you read those 3 words?
I am that. Okay.
Yes. What do you think that is?
That I am. That I am.
It doesn't say I'm in that.
Okay.
I'm a person in that. It doesn't say that. It says I am that.
Okay, we already passed more than an hour. Like, do you have some more time? Should we take a small coffee
yeah, let's go.
break?
Yeah. My family's in there, so I need to get back.
Okay.
But let's take a few more minutes. Maybe
Sure.
let's say 10 more minutes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks. So, yeah. So you said about this capital T, this, right? Okay, whatever this is. See, generally, all these years, I would have assumed this is the physical external world. Whatever is surrounding me is this.
That's a good scientific model. Yeah.
But then I also heard many people saying, whatever you see, I see it because as a thought represented in my awareness. So whatever I see, it's not like really real. The tree is not really real, but I see the tree because there is an awareness. In that awareness, this neurological signals came and created a representation of a tree here in my mind. So when I see a tree, I'm not seeing a tree. I'm actually paying attention to the tree or the yellow banana as shown in my attention. Right. Is what they say.
So that's the neurosensory model.
Yeah.
And that's the common model. Everybody pretty much presumes that's true. Data comes in through the senses. It's represented in the mind organizes it. You're aware of what's in there, not what's outside. You know it directly in the mind. The mind represents it there. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the model.
Yeah.
Right. So this has so many holes in it. I'm trying to think of where to start. Okay. I know it's the common model. I get it. I mean, I get it. I believed it for a long time. Okay, we'll put it like that. Yeah, I believe that model. I thought, but it really bugged me because I thought, well, how does the brain know how to represent things? It's like a pickle in a jar. It never comes out of the jar. Yeah. The brain doesn't come outside and go verify what's out here. How does it know how to reconstitute it? The answer is, it doesn't. It just does what it does. It takes the data. So it's like in programming, a computer. Let's say you've got a really good, it's like a quantum computer. It can take tremendous amounts of data. And there's a bunch of knuckleheads on the other end, and they're interpreting what the computer represents, what it produces.
Okay.
Well, they're gonna have some reduced down level of what it is. I mean, they're gonna have to leave out all kinds of information because they're not smart enough to comprehend all the data.
Okay.
So what this model is based on, here's the brain. No brain in the history of humankind, Homo sapiens, has ever left the skull. Ever.
Yeah.
They don't know. The brain doesn't know what's. How does the brain know how to reconstruct things?
It represents for the sake of
Yeah.
convenience.
But if I locked you in a cave, if you were in a cave from birth, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to give you some data, and I want you to represent what's outside the cave," you would come up with some wacky idea of what was out there. You wouldn't have any idea where to start. You would just put it together in whatever. You would put it together in cave language, right? You're like, well, it's kind of like this. It's like a giant cave, and it looks like this, and you would create an image, but you wouldn't know. Here's the thing. That's not even the biggest flaw in that model.
Yeah.
The biggest flaw is right now, everything is a representation in the mind, including the way the mind works. That's also only a representation. So there's no reality here. There's just representations, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So it's all representation then.
There's another model though.
Yeah.
Right? It's the awareness model. From direct awareness, within direct awareness, which is all that awareness is, it's always direct. Things arise in it and pass away. And they're known directly for what they are. And there actually is, it's all relative. It's relatively substantial. So this is the beauty of this psychology and the science of these ancient self-inquiry practices, which now are emerging as these new models like deep self-investigation and similar ones. They're bringing us back to this base reality of experience where awareness is what knows everything. So if you read some of the new physics out there, they're talking about consciousness now. They're talking about a universe that's conscious. They literally use that in the title, the conscious universe. Take a look at some of those. It's a total reversal of this whole materialistic view of the universe. That's just a model, just like Newton's model of physics gave way to the quantum model. The quantum model answers more questions. It's more accurate. They didn't abandon everything in Newtonian physics model, right? They just said it doesn't answer all the questions. Like why does matter change the way it acts on a subatomic level? And the way they made sense out of it was relativity, right? And quantum theory. It's like on this level, it looks like this. On this level, it looks like this. Is it a particle? Is it a wave? It depends on the observer and the perspective of the observer. So it's a radically different model so this is a radically different model that has more in line with quantum physics than it does with Newtonian physics. It says it's not a bunch of billiard balls bouncing off each other. Oh, it's alive with consciousness. Consciousness knows this stuff arises within consciousness and it dissolves back into it. Consciousness is the foundation of all that. It's just a different model from that consciousness has, like, really, is that your experience that consciousness is in that head somewhere? Or like, there's this, I think because of the model that you're used to, there's a sense that you have consciousness in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, if this continues, is begin to question those along with through the process of investigation.
Okay. Sure.
And begin to look at and the thing is, there's another model that works better for this, and it's the consciousness model, and it's the relative self. The relative self is a logic pattern within that model. This sense of you there, I'm going to say, like everything you want personally from life, less entanglement, fewer issues, a better, it sounds like you have a good life.
Yeah.
You're pretty happy. You're pretty happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, why do you want to mess with that?
It's not that I want to mess with it. I want to know the truth of what these great masters are saying.
Yes. Why though? Why do you want to know what they're saying? What is it that intrigues you about it?
I mean, it's for both reasons. One is curiosity to know that great thing. And other thing is they always say, like, it will remove one's suffering. Like there is both ways.
Right.
I mean, even if there is any small suffering I have, it is going to remove. And it is okay. Ramana Maharshi has made a simple statement. Somebody asked, like, what is sin and what is, like, good action? Ramana Maharshi simply says, whatever you do without realizing yourself is sin. And after realizing yourself, whatever you do is not sin. That's
go.
one definition.
Right.
So
what do you think about that?
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I'm pushing myself to know what is this reality, or what is this enlightenment, what is this illusion, what is this mind, and what is Advaita.
Right.
So I need to know even before I act.
So I just want to leave you with this. Right now, what I see is that this is typical, right? We come to this, some impulse. I would say there's an impulse beyond you that draws you here. Okay. And that becomes more and more clear. And that's great. That's good news, because it means you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to stir up your motivation. You're motivated. You're drawn. So something beyond you, I'm just adding that something beyond the sense of you draws you here, and you can trust that. But there's something else going on. You like your personal life. You like your personal life. Yeah. But the truth that you're drawn toward, it's the end of you. Okay. It's the end of that. That's why in Zen they say, if you die before you die, when you die, you won't die. You've heard that one, right? You heard that saying?
Right. Yeah. But then I am chopping wood and carrying water. After understanding myself also, I want to chop wood and carry water. I want to take care of my son and my wife and my mother.
Yeah, but this is the thing about that. It doesn't say, so it's saying before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, after enlightenment. What it's addressing is the way this life looks is very similar before and after. The nature of who you are is radically different in that. Okay. But you won't, see, I mean, I don't know if I can convey this, but what Dan does, it's not my business. It's not my business. Really. I'm not that. I'm not the character. I'm not the guy in the play. The character in the play does whatever it does.
The character can continue.
Right. But it's important to see you're not the character. The character will continue, but you have to see clearly, but you're not the character. And right now, that's not completely clear.
That can be clear. I mean, I believe.
Well, what about right now?
See, right now, I cannot guarantee. Like 10 minutes later.
No, but what's your perception right now? Do you feel like you're sitting there in a chair with your hand up and thinking about something? It feels like it's your personal experience, right?
Not always. Like even now, as you say.
There's no, but Jay, there's no always. There's just now. Okay. I'm just asking you about now.
Now, yes. It is so simple. I'm not strongly attached with this personality, fortunately.
Okay. All right. So you're weakly attached to it. How's that?
No, I'm not at all attached. There's nobody here. There's only seeing happening. And if you see just outside my screen here, it is so beautiful out there. So I don't have any complaints. I don't exist. It is. I mean, I don't have unless I think of it, see, only the thought brings the mask of the seer and the seen. If there's no thought, then there is pure seeing, and I don't have a personality. I'm not Jay. I'm not father of Sanjay. I'm not son of Gayatri, or I'm not an employee of Shah Communications. They're all just thoughts. They come and go.
Mhm.
So I'm undefinable now,
Right
actually.
now.
Yeah. I mean, there's no, you cannot put me into a definition. There is just presence. Yeah.
Well, but there's knowing that directly. I know that sounds like those sound like ideas based on a sense of looseness about your sense of self. But what these masters are talking about, and what I'm talking about, is an absolute knowing that you are not this character, is having that sense of complete detachment from it.
Okay.
Complete. And where your direct experience of it and your knowledge of the truth of it come together and they meet, and they're both exactly the same. So that's awakening. At that moment, that's awakening. Knowing what you're not, and then knowing what, like right now, there could be a complete sense of what awareness is, that it's here, that it permeates everything, and that's the direct experience of it. But that's not here yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the road this is on. That's the road. It's where, I mean, that's the best way I can put it, is where direct perception of it and the moment to moment knowing of it comes in line with this understanding that's already fairly intact. Like, you understand you're not the body, you understand there's a lot of understanding there. So we're adding this other critical component. And there were really smart, very, very knowledgeable, very scholarly people that went to Ramana Maharshi and said, I know so much,
Yeah.
but I want, but I want to know what you know. How do you know?
Right.
And he'd say, he basically, if he was saying it in our language, he'd say, my direct experience is that it's all true. I see the truth of it now. I see the truth of it.
Okay.
And that's what you want. You want to recognize the truth of it along with the knowledge of the truth of that. So that's why, but we're going to separate away that excuse me, that understanding, those concepts, irregardless of how accurate sounding they are, or complex they are even.
Okay.
They're not enough. It's about this direct experience. And what I'm saying is just something, think about this. I think you love both right now. You have two lovers, right? You love the truth and you love the lie. You love your personal life. You're going to be drawn. That's natural. You're going to be drawn to both.
Okay.
In this process, if you continue on wherever you go with this next, you will have to eventually you'll feel the pull to make that decision. You have to give up one of those lovers. And then you're going to start to draw away from the untruth about you, the personal life, all the thoughts about, and all the stories about your life. You're going to feel that pull to draw away from that and to move toward the simple truth of what you are.
Okay.
So just something to think about.
Sure.